Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats, talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Today, we continue our comic book movie journey through film with Superman 2, The Donner Cut. Released on November 28th, 2006. It was written by Mario Puzo, David Newman, Leslie Newman, and Tom Mankiewicz. And it was directed by none other than Richard Donner. I'm Colton Robertson. I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. We got a rare exception today. We've been trying to keep it to theatrical releases as much as we can. As much as we could.
I was actually curious about this, if it did come out in a theater or not.
It did not. It was a straight to DVD thing.
Okay.
Straight to DVD. I watched it I actually got a Blu-ray of it last Christmas. I finally got a chance to crack it open and give it a viewing here. And I was so very happy to, because I love Christopher Reeve's Superman. And I love Richard Donner's direction of the first Superman. And Superman 2, it didn't leave us cold or anything. You know, we gave it a pretty kind rating the first time around. But this had been hyped up to us to a degree that, you know, this is the definitive version of Superman 2. And, I'm left in a rather good place with it. But, you know, it didn't make it a ton better. It made it better, I would say, but not by like
similar gripes, you know,
for sure.
Particularly the end, but like, you know, we've had, you know, the Justice League and then Zack Snyder's version of it. You could see how different a movie can really be. And, you know, I guess the times are a little bit different. You know, they were working with far older footage and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so,
it'd been 26 years since the release of Superman 2 versus the 4 since Justice League was Zack Snyder's Justice League. Yeah. So it is a big difference, but
different ball game. And, you know, I guess like, it seems to me that they wanted to keep the continuity with Superman 3 and 4. You know, that even though it was such a while after, that they still, you know, wanted to make it make sense with those movies. And I guess I don't know. I mean,
I'd even wager that it keeps the continuity with Superman 2.
I guess technically, yeah, because
he reverses time to where none of this happens.
Nothing happens.
Instead of that,
yeah,
Lois gets sent on assignment to Paris, and he ends up pushing a nuclear bomb out of an elevator into space, and that's what lets out the 3. And he's like, fuck, it happened anyway. You know, like, man, it's
yeah, both actually happened to Christopher Reeve. He's just been through this twice. He's like, damn, again? All right, whatever. I'll reverse time again. And
he's like, what a funny way to sacrifice my powers once more. But it's a wild movie, man. It was already a wild movie from Superman 2, the original cut. But I do like a lot of the choices in this movie a little bit more. I think that what they decided to do with the big 3 villain team is a lot better in this version than it is in the original one. I think that Ursa feels like she's more of a character than she was in the first one also, by the way, which I liked her a lot in this version. I didn't mind her in the first one, but I actively enjoyed watching her in the Donner cut. I appreciate the differences with Lois Lane a lot. I thought,
man, off the rip, man. I know. Yeah, I know. You text me too, and you're like, oh, this is about to be so good. And then something, you know, and then it didn't land. And I'm like, I wonder what that could be. And then I'm watching, she's drawn, you know, the sunglass or his glasses on the paper, the hat, the coat.
Oh, dude. I love the beginning. I love, like, the first half of this movie. It's the same thing that happens. In fact, I'd even argue the first what is this, an hour and 55 minutes? The first hour and 50 minutes really do it for me. I think that if it had ended after he flies off the rooftop after the goodbye with Lois, maybe a perfect Superman movie. You know, like I looked into the behind the scenes because the fact that there even is a Donner cut, it's like what happened to where this had to happen. And Richard Lester was the director of A Hard Day's Night, the Beatles movie. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's actually very, very entertaining. But Warner Brothers and the producers, the Salkinds, Alexander Salkind, and you see his name at the beginning, an Alexander Salkind production and everything. They, for some reason, after Richard Donner had filmed about 70% of the movie, decided they didn't want him directing the movie anymore. Didn't look into much of why, but it didn't seem like there was much of a why. If what my reading led me to believe, it didn't seem like there was much of a reason why they decided to make this choice. And upon that switch, everyone was disappointed. Nobody liked it. That's why Margot Kidder's in like 5 minutes of Superman 3. She didn't like the way they ditched Richard Donner, so she decided she was not going to come back, and she didn't decide that she was not going to come back. She voiced her criticisms, and they wrote her out, basically.
Strange. Yeah, I wonder.
Very strange.
Yeah, like it wasn't. You didn't get like that. Like Donner wanted to stay there the whole time. Like it wasn't him.
I don't think it was mutual. Like he was pretty much ousted. No, it's a fascinating little bit of movie history because not only that, but in the original Superman 2, when a director has directed more than half the project, Richard Lester was forced to reshoot scenes because in order to be credited as having directed the movie, you have to direct 50% of the movie at least. So in the original cut, Gene Hackman refused to come back for reshoots for Richard Lester. So that's when they have a body double in wide shots and a voice actor who's imitating him for Richard Lester in the original cut. So everything you see here is Gene Hackman. It's like scenes with Gene Hackman were effectively owned by Richard Donner because Gene Hackman refused to come back and work under Richard Lester. John Williams refused to come back for Superman 2 because he couldn't work with Richard Lester. He didn't like him and they were not a good team. So like it's just all sorts of shit was really fumbled by the production company here.
Wow. That's so strange. Like maybe they were, that he had the first one. I mean, like that's the thing. The first one was so good. Like I don't have any, like I can't think of anything why they'd want to let him go. Maybe to just get a different take on it, just have a different director per movie maybe. But like, that's very, I didn't know they were like 70% done. And
no, yeah, like they filmed most of the movie and Richard Lester had to reshoot scenes they'd already shot. Wow. And in many cases, he shot completely different versions of the scenes, as you can tell with some of the stuff that's in the movie. The Paris stuff must have been entirely Richard Lester because Richard Donner didn't even fuck with it.
God, that's true. I was wondering what like some of the differences were, and like
the entire opening,
yeah. That's like I forgot about that Paris scene. Like the whole. Oh my God, that's not even here at all.
Him pushing that nuke into space with the elevator is what originally lets out those three, three Krypton.
But this was just 2 nukes that were launched.
The nukes from the first one. That were going towards the fault line and the city in New Jersey. So it's much more cohesive with the first one. It literally takes place immediately after.
Okay, that makes sense. Because at first I don't know. It's been just a while since I've seen the first 2. Like I don't know. It has. I haven't. I think I revisited one a little bit after, but still has been quite some time.
Months, yeah.
It felt like Niagara Falls was a lot condensed. Like this was much condensed.
Most of this movie felt very condensed. Yeah. And that probably is because a lot of it had to be done in editing, they didn't get a chance to film some of the stuff they wanted to film because it was 26 years after the fact, and everybody's there's a lot of stuff in this movie that they did reshoot, but it's not Christopher Reeve or Margot Kidder. And you can kind of tell in those moments when it happens, like when after Lois jumps out of the window and falls all the way down, there's like this wide shot of Clark yelling from the window. That's a voice actor imitating Clark and not actually Christopher Reeve in the window. And at the end, whenever Margot Kidder's typing on the typewriter, it's not Margot Kidder, it's a different actress.
Oh, okay.
So like it's just an interesting little bit of movie history that's bizarre in its happenstance. I don't know. Like it's compelling though.
Is it Adventures with Superman? The new anime on HBO and
My Adventures with Superman,
Max, whatever. And that's what Lois does. She's at the top of the Daily Planet. She's like, I'm so confident. All right, whatever. I'm going. And like seeing that, I don't know, was pretty cool. If this is where it was pulled from.
Probably a huge source of inspiration. Well, there's a lot in this movie that I felt very much so influenced Superman media later. The final fight is much better in this movie than in the original cut. I'm so glad they axed all the Fortress of Solitude fighting stuff where they introduced a bunch of powers that didn't make any fucking sense. That was a big help for me. I like, and it makes so much more sense that way. Like they already had this face off in the city. Why are we going all the way back here and then fighting some more instead of, you realize that this movie didn't need all of what the original cut had. And, it makes the original cut almost feel bloated by comparison.
Yeah, it felt just, I don't know. Like, it's not that much difference in runtime. Like, I think it's only like 10 minutes longer, the original, or maybe like 15. So it's not that much that's cut down, but it did feel like all just the, I guess, filler, or just stuff that was just kind of not needed was thrown out. It felt just a lot more like, all right, well, here's the important parts that you need in the movie, and we're moving on. And at some points it did like I could sort of tell that they were like they didn't have a lot of material to work with, and the editing was kind of a little choppy, from scene to scene sometimes.
Yeah, no, for sure. There was a lot of we're in Niagara, now we're up in the Arctic, we're back in Niagara, now we're up here, and that, it was very, very choppy towards the beginning of the movie, especially since that scene where Lois really figures it out, also made a ton more, I'm just so glad they wrote Lois Lane to not be a fucking idiot, she's like, I don't know how I couldn't see it. He showed up, I looked over at the hot dog stand, you were not there, I know it's you, I know that for sure, and then pulling the fast one with the blank and the gun.
Clark Kent would have been dead if I wasn't actually Superman. You're like, oh, well, with a blank, would you be? She's like, I got you idiot. I thought it was perfect. Yeah, she just much more of a investigative journalist. Not a lot was getting by her, and I really thought it was going to happen at the beginning, but then the way it sort of slowly unraveled, and she sort of knew still.
She had that feeling.
Yeah, what a way to save her jumping out of the building. By the way, I really thought he was just going to catch her, and it was just going to be right then and there. But it let it breathe for a little bit longer, and you had that. I think that moment's a lot better. If he does just catch her, and then maybe they fly to the top of the Daily Planet or something, have a conversation. I don't know, but it was nice to have that. Just I was wrong last time. I risked my life. Now I should actually risk yours. And I don't know, it's just a nice kind of flipping it on his head. Oh,
for sure. I think there's what's interesting is that there's a few choices from the original that I do. Maybe not like more. I think there's a blend to be had, somewhere in the middle in between both of the movies. It felt quick to me in this one to kind of be like, oh, I think we're 25, 30 minutes into the movie, which is fine. It's a cut together movie from limited footage, and you can kind of feel that. So they're just they kind of usher it along until the back half when shit really feels different. I liked the little bit of a slow burn of it. Like, it felt like the first one had a little bit more of a slow burn to the reveal, whereas this was kind of like we kept cutting back and forth.
Mm.
And for the first, until the reveal, all of Clark and Lois's scenes are focused on her trying to figure out that he's Superman, you know, and that's fine, you know, and I think the reveal itself, I like that she took the initiative and exposed him for it.
Mm-hmm. But
I like what happened in the first one more, if that makes sense. And I don't know if it's just because the Donner cut has like it's screen test footage and it's not filmed like they would usually film it. Like, I think back to the honeymoon suite that they were filming in, and like I loved that setting.
Nice.
I loved
that was really nice to have.
Well, and that's why the screen test is important, is because like they didn't have that set built yet. They were just like, here's a fucking throw together set that we're gonna practice with, and that's why we never spent any time in that room. And so like I liked the stuff. It's a blend of things, you know. They were backed into a corner for the version Donner wanted, but like I would have liked a blend of the two.
And I think Zod and his crew, like I think they like just their time on Earth, like whenever they first land and they're just kind of going around terrorizing was a lot more drawn out in the first one. And I think I actually appreciate that a little bit more. Like it was nice kind of cutting to the point and then just them being, you know, just rising up, him on TV, and then straight to the White House, and then like, all right,
fuck yeah.
You know, where's
well,
Superman?
I feel like we got an extended fight scene in the White House. Like, was that all? Like, Zod takes the gun and like starts shooting motherfuckers with it. Like, I'm like, you know, the action when it comes to the genre rating, this will be a much better genre rating than the first one. I think that the action in this movie is like infinitely more tangible and exciting, and actually takes a lot more leaps than I think the original cut of the movie did. Like, I could see this influencing Man of Steel later on. You know what I'm saying? Like
he has God in the city. Like it's kind of the same thing, but just obviously we have way more.
Well, they're fighting in the sky. I don't think they did that in the first one, you know, and like the way he like floats up to the top of a building and you see traffic in the background and they're talking from the top of buildings and stuff. Like, it felt much more grand, and it felt like an actual attempt to elevate from the first one. Whereas I think the original cut of Superman 2, it was afraid to take risks like that. You know what I'm saying? Like they took big swings, but they were still more contained than like a fight in the sky. Like you don't get that in the original one. And I appreciate that.
Is definitely much better here. Like it's like you're right about that Fortress of Solitude fight in the original, where it was just like, all right, where are all these powers coming from? What the heck's going on? Like, there's so much being added here with no explanation, and then it's like, all right, they're down the hole, and then it, you know, kind of done. But
the actual like red kryptonite transition stuff was so much better.
Yeah.
Than the like weird fucking freeze frames, like just the images of him being kind of like blurred out by crystals around him. It looked infinitely better. It was just a better looking sequence. I don't know what they could have possibly been thinking when they did the original version of that. Like, did they just not have access to what Donner did with it, and some dumbass had to be like, well, I guess we could try this, you know?
Make it somewhat different. Yeah, I don't know. And I'm trying to remember how he got his powers back. After he lets him go
in the first one,
because
they don't show us.
Yeah, he just goes and then it happens. I felt like that was like whenever he got his powers back, I'm like, oh my god, this is like so much better. Like, and I guess we didn't even get anything in the first one, so that's obviously why.
Well, there was like no Marlon Brando in the first one.
Yeah, that's
how we got his powers back, and they. I'm assuming Marlon Brando was like, I am not doing this shit again. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think it even really like, no hate to Richard Donner. I don't think it mattered who the director was. He was not filming this again. You know what I'm saying? Like, Marlon Brando was like, I did my fucking job. You're not going to give me the fucking do this thing, you know? It's just not going to happen. Those scenes
were awesome. Like that, like everything in the Fortress of Solitude was so much better here.
Infinitely. Like, my favorite shot comes from the Fortress of Solitude, and it's not a shot that's in the first one because it's Clark talking to Jor-El. It's when he is confessing his love of Lois and how he's, you know, he deserves to be selfish and stuff. Christopher Reeve probably gets to act his ass off more than he ever did in any of the original 4 also.
Your shot. That's my scene. Like, because it just surprised me. I'm like, oh my God, like how do we not get this in the original? Like, it felt like it was either it was so off, or like it makes more sense that we just didn't get anything really like this. I guess that's more when his powers come back. But he does have a. Does he have a conversation of like,
it's his mom? It's his mom in the original one.
Okay, I feel like it was something different. That makes more sense. But this was just great. Like him just being
his
like,
mom was much more like not like you can't fucking do this, like the way Jarrell was. He was just like, if that's what you want, and that's like, I think it's an interesting contrast between the way Ma and Pa might talk to their son, but
obviously Jarrell's going to be like, no, you have a duty,
this is literally what I sent you there for. What do you mean?
And then like, I love how, Lois is just watching the whole time, not saying anything, just in like long sleeve Superman shirt,
the oversized Superman shirt,
just watching there. That was almost a shot. There was like it showed like Clark and kind of where the computer hub thing, and then like Lois in the background. But yeah, that I really like pretty much every scene in the Fortress of Solitude. But I think like Christopher Reeve just got to act way more. Like whenever he was like, I deserve this, like I've done so much for them, and like I can't even have one person, for myself. Like it was, I thought it was just really well done, and obviously having Marlon Brando in here, it helps. That's for sure.
No
shame to the mom or anything, but like
no, not at all. But I mean, it's Marlon fucking Brando, like it's not like anybody kind of pales in comparison to Marlon Brando, and that's like one thing that I kind of wish could have gone different. And it's just a preference thing. Like it's not no hate at all, because I love this scene where Gene Hackman and Lex Luthor and Miss Tessmacher make it up to the fortress, and she's complaining about how she has to pee, and then she finds the toilet and stuff like that. That all was much funnier than the first one, but also like Lex's quick understanding of the, like him, like, are you really here? And then he just keeps talking like he's not really there and stuff. Like, he's not really here. I do wish he had been really there. Like I wish that we had got a chance to watch Gene Hackman and Marlon Brando act off each other, because that would have been very, very cool.
Yeah. I don't know. Jarrell would have been really confused. Like, what the, like, because it's interesting to think, because like he does talk to Clark. And like they do have conversations, so maybe it is just like a DNA thing, like it's just that he knows like that it is.
Maybe it's like a certain crystal too, because they picked out one of the education crystals, so it's like pre-recorded, versus maybe he went up and put a certain crystal in and it like brings him straight to him, or never know. But Marlon Brando, I was close to picking Marlon Brando for the performance, but Christopher Reeve just he did so much better in this one than he did in the original cut of it that I had to do with him.
And after Superman Returns, like we're coming fresh off Superman Returns, and like it's just kind of night and day, like how we can go back and forth from Clark and Superman, and I don't know. I picked Christopher Reeve as well for my performance. I thought it was pretty clear. I almost went with Margot Kidder. I think I went with Margot Kidder last time. Actually, I think, let's see, our favorites from the last, or from the original. Yeah, we both went Margot Kidder for performance, and then we had Christopher Reeve as Superman for character, and then I switched them. Yeah. So it looks like we both flipped him there. And then Clark confessing that he is Superman to Lois was your favorite scene. And then mine was at Niagara Falls. That's kind of broad. I don't know. That's very broad. I don't know. Maybe
I think you liked the, if I recall correctly, it was the stuff prior to the reveal. Like, and it's in this movie too. That sequence where they're up above and that kid like climbs on the railing and stuff, and she's like, "I'm hungry," and he's like, "You're in front of one of the greatest spectacles in all nature. And you're thinking about food." Yeah.
Come on, Lois. Come on. Just look behind you. Yeah, like he's so good as Clark. Like he's just so good, and that's, I mean, another beautiful location as well. I mean, it's Niagara Falls. And I love, like, whenever he's saving that kid, there's, like, a random lady that's, like, they're all like, oh, Superman, what a nice guy.
Man.
Like, yeah, like, of course he's Jewish. Just comes from a random lady. I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I don't know. That was
so
out
funny.
there.
Well, and it's a little homage to the creators of Superman, Jerry Siegel, and they were Jewish men.
Oh yeah.
No, it's an outstanding scene, and it continues to be one of my favorites. And there's a reason that they don't mess with that in the first one, that specific part. It is a little extended and a little bit different, I think, in this one. They just don't go to that different, like they have a whole different way of her trying to prove, instead of jumping into the water, she jumped out of the building earlier in the movie, which is much cooler, I think, than the jumping into the water.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, just right away, just open the window and like Clark's like, Lois, what are you doing? Like, what's going on? And then just, oh my God,
where's Lois? Where'd Lois go? She stepped out.
Yeah, like, and who knows? Like, he ran through that office, all the papers just flew, and everyone's like, yeah, normal day in the office.
Shit happens.
Yep. No, yeah, word just didn't get around that Lois jumped out the window and just got saved. Like, I don't know how elastic that like little overhang thing was, but I mean, from that height, I feel like she's just going right through that thing.
Through it. Yeah. If Clark doesn't do the whole wind blowing thing,
okay, you're right. He did kind of slow her fall. Okay, now you know what? Perfect. It makes sense.
Well, the thing that doesn't make sense is that Lois doesn't think about that.
Yeah. Well,
Lois jumped from like 40 floors up. She is splatting on the concrete if she's not saved somehow.
How long do you think it took her to be like falling through the midair? Like, all right, well, obviously he's gonna fly and come save me, and then she's like, oh, wait a minute, what the fuck?
Yeah, when did it change from sure? Yeah. When did it change from certainty to panic? She kind of immediately screams as soon as she falls out the window, though.
Well,
she's like,
regardless, yeah. I mean, that's going to be scary no matter what.
Scary, yeah. Man, one thing's for sure. I think I enjoy this more than the original cut, and I think it's better than the original cut. But it's still not touching Superman 1, like it's astounding how they were completely incapable of recapturing that magic, and I it's a classic thing with most movies with sequels is that you try and you just can't accomplish it. But
I think just like most of the magic is just like it's like a lot of firsts like that happen. It's just like, oh my God, he's finally doing it, and like this is Superman. You get that theme, for the first time. It's all just fresh and new. And I mean the second was not like too far off. But it's just like, I don't know. Sometimes you have movies where the sequel's a little bit better, where they understand the character and they, you can just go in the world. The world's already built, stuff like that. But this, I don't know. It's just not the same as the first one.
No, it's not. Well, what's even more interesting about the like ending of this movie is that the first and second movie were written concurrently. They were written at the same time, or like back to back, by Mario Puzo. That was the idea. And the original cut of the first movie was apparently like the ending of this movie, the second one that Mario Puzo wrote, was Lois dies, Clark reverses time to save her, which is what they do at the end of the first movie. So that was what they decided to do at the end of the first movie after having written the second movie. Like, you know what? That would be a better ending for the first movie. But then the second movie didn't have an ending if that was the end of the first one.
Okay.
So what they did, apparently they did not like what happened in the second movie anyway. They hated the Forget-Me-Not kiss. They were like, we cannot fucking do that. Which, same. I hate the Forget-Me-Not kiss.
Yeah.
I don't know why you have to make her forget, though. Like, why is that so, like, well, we hate the Forget-Me-Not kiss, but she has to forget. No, she fucking doesn't. He literally looks at her and tells her, I trust you with my secret. It completely undermines that moment seconds later for him to reverse time.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. It's like, I like that moment on the rooftop was so good, and I'm like,
that's
oh
my favorite
God,
scene. It's
yeah,
undoubtedly my favorite scene
Yeah.
because if they would have just ended the fucking movie when he flies, like if he would have flew from that rooftop, flew out into space, and they did that final shot where he like curves around the world and then like waves to the camera, basically, like fuck yeah, cut to credits, outstanding ending.
Yeah, what's the purpose of going back in time? Just to fix Metropolis? And
well, what sucks is it was like initially so that Lois was alive, but she was already fucking alive. They never got a chance to film that for the second one because they'd already filmed it for the first one, you know? So they were like, we're not going to do that again.
I guess like the Fortress of Solitude is back now. Like he destroyed it, you know, he after the,
but then you don't,
fights all of them, and then,
but that was like the last thing he decided to do. It wasn't like that was like a safety measure that he just like, that was the last thing he did before he took Lois home. So like he might as well have not done it.
It's like he took away their powers and then they fell down however far down, you know. They're probably dead from that already, but I felt like the destroying of the Fortress of Solitude was like, all right, you know, there's no more crystals left, you know, my father, you know, gave me
I think it's just because he can't speak to his father anymore.
Like, and it's like there's really no point for it anymore. And then maybe like as like a double tap and like make sure these three are dead,
right,
you know, sort of thing. Like let's just collapse the whole fucking shit on top of them. And then it's like, all right, we're back in time, and they're back in the Phantom Zone, just floating around in space again, and you know, like they're back in like I don't know. It's
the ending pisses me off in a special kind of way. Like
Man,
mostly because like the movie could have been 4 minutes, like literally 3 minutes shorter, and it would have been better. You know what I'm saying? Like literally just cut out the last little scene because it's like they're rubbing salt on the wound whenever he goes into the Daily Planet, and she's like, I feel like I have the biggest story of my career and I just can't remember it. And I'm like, fuck you for saying that, bro. I don't care. Shut the fuck up. Go ahead and just let her know who Superman is, bro. This is pissing me off.
The only good thing about the ending is him going back to the diner and then beating the shit out of that dude.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, that's it. Like, that's the only, like, feel good that you get at the end, because you think it's all feel good, and you're like, oh my god, yeah, he trusts her, and, like, she knows now, he's flying away, like, it's all good, like, that crying moment, like, her just in tears, just, like, absolutely
brilliant performance by Margot Kidder.
Oh my god, yeah, it's like, it's so good, and then it's like, oh, well, I guess none of that actually matters. And then like, oh, okay, I guess he beat the shit out of one guy that doesn't even know that he had that interaction with Clark before. Like this dude, Clark just knew that he was a piece of shit, so he's like, yeah, I'll go rock his shit, whatever. But like, it's like that interaction didn't even happen.
That that's a continuity error within this movie.
Yeah, that interaction, he went back in time. It didn't happen. So he just went to that diner before.
Beat the shit out of that guy.
Like, and granted, he's a piece of shit, dude. Probably deserved it, but like, I don't know. That was like pointless revenge at that.
Yeah,
point.
but then everyone looks at him after, and he's like, "I've been working out," and they're like, "Who the fuck are you?" You know, like,
yeah. It's like,
I've been working out. What the fuck do you mean by that? I don't even know who you are, man.
You spun this dude at Mach 7 on this stool, made it, rise up, and then slid him across the whole fucking building, and it's like, yeah, all right, that's just a normal human thing that people do, or whatever. I guess like the jacket he's wearing is dorky enough where people are going to be like, no, of course that's not Superman, like for sure not. But yeah, man. I don't know. Yeah, definitely a weird way to end the movie. And you're right. If it was just 5 minutes shorter, if it just ended right when he flew off the rooftop, waved to the camera, out, go fly above the clouds. Brilliant ending there. Like, yeah,
could have been. It was literally 3 minutes short of being my favorite ending to a superhero movie, to a Superman movie. You know what I'm saying? Like,
man,
I just don't understand. Like, and I have the same issue with most superhero media with a secret identity. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just so thankful they can't spin time backwards in like Spider-Man 2. You know what I'm saying? Because they absolutely fucking would have. Like that's something they would have like, and I don't understand that, and I get that secret identities are supposed to cause conflict, but after a certain point, after they've caused enough conflict, you give in and let the person they love know. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. the end of like Amazing Spider-Man 1, like you have the idea that he's just gonna stay away from Gwen and whatever, but then at the very end he's like, don't make any promises you can't keep, and he tells Gwen like, yeah, those are the best kind. He's like,
that's one of my favorite that's one of my favorite things about the Amazing Spider-Man is that he just fucking tells her. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, fuck yeah, man, and.
Yeah. Like it's perfect. Like I mean, it's nice to have that little jumble of like going back and forth. Like, oh, I don't want to endanger the one I love. I have so many freakish villains that are after me, and they'll obviously go for her. And it's like it's nice to have that back and forth. But then like Gwen, her, and I'm talking about Spider-Man here, but like it's let the other person have a say too, as well, and like see what they think about it and everything. And like it should like at the end, I feel like I don't know, like it's. You already caused enough chaos. Like every superhero movie, there's enough chaos already caused. Like shit's just hit the fan at some point. And
another just like one thing that I appreciate about the Spider-Man version of it, and I've never really dug about the these Superman movies, is that at least in Spider-Man, it is to protect the people they love.
Mm-hmm.
These movies, it's like, well, I can't focus on the world if I'm in love with one person.
That's
fucking
true. Yeah,
what?
I can't love someone and also just do my normal daily activities that I've been doing anyways throughout the entire movie.
Even though I love the people I landed on Earth with.
Yeah. Like I guess like maybe he'll be more distracted and only save Lois instead of everyone else.
He's
or whatever.
But like Superman,
he already does that. Like that's the thing. He already does that before. Mm-hmm. Like he already prioritizes Lois the whole time.
With her, you can't deny things like that.
Yeah. Like he grew up a human as well. Like it's like in. I don't know, it's, and there's always this back and forth of like, you're not one of them, you have a higher calling, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, he grew up a human, he grew up with a very human family on a farm. And like, it's, I don't know, it's almost like the alien version of him is more unknown. It is more unknown to him than his human, self. And even that scene, like in the Fortress of Solitude, whenever he's talking with Lois, like, and she's like, it's a little confusing to me, like Clark and Superman. He's like, not to me really at all. It's like pretty, I got it down. Like it's, I don't know. He doesn't really have any problem. Like I like being Clark sometimes, even if I am a little clumsy, like, I don't know. I really enjoy it. And he's like, he enjoys that human side of him. And obviously it's really nice to be Superman and save the day and have all these powers and stuff like that. But like, it's almost like he likes just being human a whole lot more. I mean, he did eventually give up his powers for Lois, so like obviously, yeah, like he likes the human side much more.
Yeah, man, I can't even. I don't really understand why it's a one or the other thing. I don't understand why it's an either or. Like, well, you can either love a human or you are Superman.
Yeah, maybe that's just Jor-El. Like they're on Krypton. They know that humans are like lower life forms. Whatever, you're like whatever to them. They don't know what human life is like. I don't know. But
even so, Clark has to prompt that. It's like Jor-El's head popped up and was like, yo, what the fuck's going on here? No, like, he reached out to his dad and was like, I don't want to be Superman anymore, Pop. I've found a human I love.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That's one of the only things about this adaptation to Superman I can't really fuck with. Yeah,
it would have made a lot more sense if Jor-El was like, well, if you want to love her, then you have to get rid of your powers, instead of like Clark going up there.
It's inherently, it's very Superman to be like, I can do both. Mm-hmm. Like to have that defiance in the face of orders and go, I have the capability to protect everyone and the person I love.
Yeah.
I don't know why he had to be like, I don't want this anymore. And then like, because that, it just creates a needless conflict. Like, the only reason they do it is so that Zod can take over the world.
Yeah.
Even temporarily.
And then have like some way of getting rid of their powers as well. Like you kind of need that in there in order like to have them defeat.
Yeah.
to have him like defeat them, and maybe like the chamber's there and like he's about to get in, but then Lois goes like, Clark, no, stop, and then maybe like he doesn't get rid of his powers ever, but then they just spend their time, in the Force of Solitude, have their night together. Zod takes over, over the span of one night because he is that powerful and whatever, and then they could still reverse it and it could still be there.
Right.
But
like, even if it like came up, it's like if they get to the point where his dad goes, you will step into this chamber and you will never be able to reverse this process. If like right before that he goes, no, I can do both. It's enough. That's like all you need to do. It's an astounding conundrum. Because I feel like you also could have. He's finally with Lois in private for as long as they need. Like, I think that's all you need to do for him to be unaware of what was happening elsewhere in the world. It all happened.
Focused on one thing and one thing only.
Yeah, man.
And I mean that's where my favorite shot comes from, is them just in bed. Like that has to be the most
that was a great
bed.
shot.
Oh my god. And like just them cuddled up. That I don't know what kind of bed that is, but like I want one. It looks so puffy.
Tinfoil blanket ass bed.
Yeah. I don't know, it looked like so puffy, and they were just like so sink down into it. Maybe it's just because like he's just so well, I guess no, his powers were gone, so maybe he's not. I don't know if that changes his weight or whatever, but like I don't know, they just look like they were just like so comfy there. Like it looks so nice. Even how cold it is up there, I don't know. He's warm enough, I guess.
It's very impressive the way that like even at the end when they exit the Fortress of Solitude and they're like they're in the North Pole and Lois is like wearing a skirt, and I think that's hilarious. Like I have no issue with it.
Plumbing up there, freaking Miss Talkin. What is it?
Tessmacher.
Yeah, Tessmacher took a piss or a shit up there in the Fortress of Solitude, flushed a toilet. So like, they got AC.
Why didn't you go before we left? That was 2 days ago.
North. Just
north.
North. Yeah, she's like, North? Yeah, it's funny that like Lex like has a lot of stupid moments kind of in this, like a couple times. Like he kind of has like some moments. He's like, oh no, that's what I said. North. Yeah, like for sure. Like 100%. Like I guess his machine that he built right there that told him exactly where the Fortress of Solitude was, like, and he still pointed the wrong direction, sort of thing. So it's like I don't know. It was funny. Like I don't know. I loved all the Gene Hackman moments in here.
Hey, he's fresh out of prison. He's lost it a little bit. He's a step off his game.
That's true. Yeah, it doesn't have the full squad. It's we don't get Luthor for too much of the movie at all. Yeah. It's just in prison and that's it. He's bringing the balloon down. He's just like see you later. See you later. But yeah, I don't know. Gene Hackman was just so good. I felt like there was a line where he said like something about a Cocker Spaniel, and he's like, not more than your average Cocker Spaniel or something like that. Not like just what. Oh, I forgot the context of it, but like I don't know, there were just a lot.
Yeah, it was about it was Jarrell reading the Trees poem.
He's like, oh, I love trees. Yeah, like, well, not more than your. Everyone loves trees.
No more than your average Cocker Spaniel.
Like he's just, I don't know. He's so.
I think so does your average Cocker Spaniel. Like he's like.
Yeah, he was so good. I love.
Oh, dude, I love Gene Hackman, and he's incredible in the role of Lex, man. One of my favorite little moments, is Jimmy Olsen bringing in a black coffee for Perry White, and he goes, he's walking in, and Lex just takes it, and he's like, "That's for the chief," and he goes, "The chief's got it."
Yep. He's so good, and like he demands Australia at first. He's like, "Oh, my needs are very small." Or like, and he calls like Zod something new, like your fullness, or like
your turgidness.
Like he calls him something different every time. He's like, "Oh, and well, I have Superman's home address. How about that?" And he's like, Zod's like, "All right, what more do you want?" He's like, "Cuba." He loves his beach.
I have this affinity for. For beachfront property, I think is the thing he says. But like, it's just no. Like, I was damn close to picking Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor for my favorite character, and I might even just to spread the love a little bit, because it's kind of impressive how much better he is. Like, better the character is in this movie than it was in the in the original cut of the second one. And he doesn't have many more scenes. He's just, I don't know. It's just kind of the essence of him feels like, I guess Gene Hackman really is that guy. You know, he's got that whimsy about him, and you see him do it, and you're like, yeah, that's the fucking guy right there.
I went with Margot Kidder, or just for Lois for the character, just because they didn't make her. You know, they actually gave her some brains, and they actually gave her like, it just was handled a lot better in this movie. So that's why I had to make that distinction. But I don't know, Gene Hackman as Lex was just equally as good. You know, it's So I think oh yeah, I haven't given my line quite yet, and I don't know. I was going back and forth, and I think it's kind of the same line I chose for Superman Returns. I don't know. I'm a sucker for the father, you know, becomes the son becomes the father. You know, it's that moment where he's like, this is my last little bit of energy, you know, and it's officially, you know, he's like, look at me, Kal-El. I don't know, he can't, like, he's always like looking away. He's like, no, like this can't be happening, you know, or whatever. And he's like, no, look at me, my son.
The ancient prophecy of Krypton shall be fulfilled.
The son becomes the father becomes the son. Farewell forever. Like, straight up, farewell forever. In like,
bar.
Oh my God, just put the hand on the shoulder, and then, you know, he just starts like, it was kind of funny, you know, a little bit, but
no, yeah, I mean, it was. I think that like moments like that, it lends to the camp of the Superman movies that we know from Donner and stuff. Like, so, like,
I mean, can you imagine being a normal dude and then being imbued with the power of Superman? Like, you're not just gonna be like, all right, yep, that was all good. I mean, something's gonna happen, you know, like your atoms, your DNA is like being changed and shit. That's like, something's gotta happen.
No, for sure.
I don't know how else to handle that
in a comedic manner.
Yeah. I don't know how else to really portray that on screen.
Dude, it was so fucking funny, man. Yeah, my line is, you know, it's a classic Superman line, but it's Lois, and it's the only time it's been delivered in a Superman movie. It's in the Donner cut. Like, it's not even in a theatrically released Superman movie where, there he goes, kid. Up, and away. Like, that would have been a perfect last line for the movie. Why the fuck are we not ending the movie here?
It's the movie right there. Like, it would have been so much better. And like, I was reading all the like reviews for like on IMDb and like what people thought about it. And it was like, yeah, perfect movie until the very end. Like, it's like the ending is it's just
it
a
really
little
sucks
rough.
the life out of it, man.
Yeah, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But yeah, I guess, you know, because I don't know. I'm trying to justify it. I really can't. Like, I really
no,
can't.
it's a bad choice. Like, it's just I don't know why they felt the need to do it. And even in the argument of like maintaining continuity, I don't even think it does that necessarily. You know, like, it's just.
Yeah. In 3, she has no idea. Yeah, she still does, or she's not even really in 3 at all.
That's why I don't think it matters whether she knows or not. Like, if they would have ended it with your secret is safe with me.
Yeah.
And she doesn't divulge the information from here on in, that's fine.
It would be real nice to see him like fly around Metropolis fixing all the damage and stuff like that, or, you know, I don't know, something like, or literally just him flying up like into the sky. Like, don't even really need that. Like, obviously it's going to be fixed or whatever, but like, I really like, I don't know, like in the anime show, like, he, like, if he caused a lot of damage, he just like zoomed around, fixed it all up, and like before he leaves, like he fixes everything. And
the classic Superman characteristic.
Would have been pretty cool, but yeah, that's just, I don't know. I don't know how much it's gonna like change the rating, like, for the ending, you know, because like the whole, like, everything else is handled pretty well. It's just like up until the very end where it's like, man, really, we're going here.
No, I think that, like, yeah, it really does, like, it does blow, like, almost to the level of like The Last Stand ending, you know, like, where I'm like,
yeah, like, what the fuck, like, really,
it doesn't even tonally match what just happened. It actually completely negates what just happened. And it's again, Superman deciding what's best for Lois, because if she doesn't die, there is no reason to do that beyond her knowing who he is. That is why he did it. And he figured, why not just go all the way back before all this happened then? And I have such a tough time fathoming why they chose to do that.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't come up with any reason to justify it. Maybe he's just a little lazy. He doesn't want to fix Metropolis. And this, I don't know. But it comes with a lot more of a burden. I feel, there's a lot more involved in going all the way back there. Yeah, it is rough. But I don't know. Maybe I could just headcanon, in my
I'm gonna act like next time I'm turning the movie off after that.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, it's just right that line, like up and away, boom, TV
Fade
off,
black.
done. Like, yep. I don't need to watch that. That is where the movie ends. I don't even remember him going back.
You straight up don't need a single thing after it. Actually, you literally don't. Like,
I don't need to see him beat up that dude in the diner. At all. Like, I'd much rather have in my head being like, oh yeah, Lois knows they're gonna go on together, just doing their thing. It's perfect the way it is. I don't.
Well, and it builds like an inevitability. Like, they'll eventually end up together. Like, even if it's not now, it's just like, now she knows, and that'd be so much better than this bullshit where they make her forget. I can't fucking stand it. But
yeah, they really do rub it in your face too. Like him going to get the pizza. Oh, Clark, you're super. It's like, oh man, like this, like
going full Benicio del Toro and the French Dispatch.
Yeah, it's just man, what a decision to end it. And I guess it's a cool shot, just take out the context of him like actually going back in time. It's just cool seeing him reverse their spin, and like it is cool just like that he can do that.
I'm pretty sure it's the same footage as Superman 1 too. I don't think that's new. I think it's the same exact thing.
Yeah, man. There's no real justification.
Even when they show him as he's spinning, like, I know he's smiling. So, like, but I'm also like, why the fuck are you smiling, bruh? Like,
crying, if any, or like, distraught at the very least. Not like, everything's, I guess, he's making Lois forget. I'm so glad that she has no idea who I am anymore. Like, and it eats him a lot. Like, you can tell it sort of eats him. Like, he likes being Clark, but he also hates the fact that Lois doesn't know. Like,
absolutely.
He would much rather have her know.
That's one thing I missed from the original cut of this movie is how badly he wanted her to know, and he kept, like, fucking up on purpose almost.
Yeah, like, him taking off straightening up in her apartment, like, kind of being ready. He's like, oh, fuck, no, I can't, not, like, he's nervous. Like, it was so good. But yeah, now it's, I guess he'd rather her not know. Yeah.
It just lost its juice a little bit at the very, 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 very end. Which blows. But we gave the last movie a 7.776. And
okay.
I'm fairly certain it's higher in every category except adaptation. I don't think I can tell you it's any better or worse.
Yeah, enjoyment. I'd rather watch this cut over the last one, and yeah, like the Paris scene. Like, I'm thinking about that. That's just like just kind of not needed.
It's
like
fun. I have a good time watching. It's just that like. You don't need it. It was literally there to explain why Zod and the other two got out. Like, that's why it was there. And it's just Superman doing cool shit all over the world, which I do think, like, I don't think this movie's missing it, but I do like that scene. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think it's necessarily like a.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, it is cool, but like this just gets to the point a lot quicker. It's like, they're out. They're on the moon. They're heading to planet Houston. And doing their thing. Yeah, like I feel like it was a little more drawn out, in the original. Like, have just their time on Earth, and like when they got in that town, they went in a bar, right? They had like a bar fight. Something, and before they fought the military and everything. But in this one, it's just kind of like, hey,
they cut to the end of the carnage.
Hey, the military's here. Yeah, it's like, hey, we're going to the White House. It's like, yeah, it was just bang, bang, bang for
and that's like more what would happen, like it felt a little bit more like it felt more like Michael Shannon's Zod than it did the original version. Like whenever he's just like speaking on screen and being like, surrender and everything will be fine. You know, like
I am your ruler now. Obviously, you can't touch me. There's nothing you can do. Like it makes way more sense for him just to go straight to it.
No, but I think an important one for me. So we gave the first one a 7, enjoyment wise, or the original cut of the second movie a 7. What would you watch this before Batman 89?
Ooh. Could be kind of on the same level.
That's what I think. I think it's. I don't think I can elevate it above Batman 89.
Yeah, because then that puts it on the level of X-Men, Batman Returns, and right below Spider-Man 2. That's getting a little too high, I'd say. But yeah, definitely, it's a 7.5 or a 7.75 is what I would say.
I go 7.75. I think that
Oh yeah, Daredevil, X-Men: The Last Stand.
Fuck
also
yeah.
a 7.75. This seems right. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, not on the same level as Blade in Blade Trinity. No, I'd go Superman 2 before that. Yeah, before those. So okay, I like that. And then genre. I don't know. We gave the last one a 7. This one, I don't know. The action, I was just way
I wouldn't
better.
say it's like a huge bump, but like it's definitely a bump. You know, like I think that what are we looking at with like 7.5 to 8? What do we got in that range already?
7.5 would be X-Men, Batman and Robin, and then 8 is we're getting in Batman 89, Blade, and then X-Men X2.
It's probably closer to a 7.5 than it is an 8 then. And 7.5 was where my gut was. Like it's not like a huge bump, but it's a bump. You know, the action in this movie is better. I do think you lose a bit of that adventure with this one, as we don't go to Paris, but we do go to Niagara and we do go to the fortress and stuff. So like it's still fun, but
okay. And then adaptation. I mean, I'd say like maybe the Jarrell scenes maybe would give it a little bit of a bump, but like I don't know if it's really.
You know, I could get behind that, you know, because it is the same exact thing that happens in the first one. We just have a little bit more reason with it, you know.
Yeah, he does just get his powers back out of nowhere, and then like there are just some whack ass powers in like the fight scene at the Fortress of Solitude.
That's true.
This one is kind of, it seems way more in universe, way more.
Yeah, maybe we go 7.5 for that as well. Then,
I think that does make sense. Yeah, I mean, Batman 89 and X2 on the same level as that, and like I mean, different, but yeah, I think it does actually get a little bit of a rise from that. So okay, 7.5, and then critically now,
we gave the first one a 6.
Yes, 6.
I don't think it's much higher than that. I think it is higher than that. But like, what do we have at 7s? Because I'll need to hear that.
Returns is the only 7 that we have.
It's not as good as Batman Returns.
Yeah, Batman Forever is a 6.5.
I'd say it might be that, may not even quite that. I think 6.5. I think I could go with the equation like 6.5 with Batman Forever. I think I could go ahead and throw it there. Just like, you know, half point bump for everything. You know, like it's just it's a little bit better than everything that happened in the second one.
Yeah, it's not like unbelievably better, but it definitely it did give it a little bit of an increase.
It feels more connected to the first one for sure. You know.
Oh yeah. Okay, so that would be, let's see, I wasn't putting them all in the slots. Let's see, we gave it 7.75 for enjoyment. For genre, we gave it a 7. Is that right? Yeah, 7. And then adaptation, a 7.5, and 6.5 for critical. So 7.19, so a 7.2, 72%, which the last one came out to be
68, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 6.75. So this puts it right, it's right above that, but below X-Men. There's no movie that's in between. It's just literally right above it. I think
That's perfect.
that does make sense. Yeah, not X-Men, not quite Batman Returns, Batman 89 in total, but just a little bit above the original one. So I think that does make sense here.
No, I think it absolutely does. I think that it's cut together nature and not very completedness. Kind of, it does ultimately hurt it. Like if we did get a chance to film the scene not being a screen test between the reveal there might really elevate it, I think.
Take away the ending and then like actually get all the reshoots and everything that you need to make it more, flow better and everything like that. It's
probably a solid 8 out of 10, like
still not quite the first one.
No.
But yeah, it's definitely higher than it would have been here. But I mean, yeah, I think
hey, you work with what you can, and I'm glad they did, because I like this movie a lot, man. It's I'll certainly revisit it sooner than I will the original cut of Superman 2.
Just stop it a couple minutes early, and then we'll all be good.
That's it.
That's definitely the way to watch this movie. If you haven't watched it, and you're going to, just stop. Right after Lois says
Lois says up, up and away. That's it.
Cut to black right then and there. But yeah, all right, there we are.
There you have it. And
IMDb, for reference, gives it a 7.6. The Donner cut, and then so yeah, I think I don't know. We're being a little more critical actually, which is
as of late,
a run, as of late.
Yeah.
But
how about Rotten Tomatoes? Does Rotten Tomatoes have one up there?
It is an 86%, the audience, and then there's only 2 reviews critically, but they don't even give a number.
Gotcha.
For it. But yeah, 86 audience score.
I believe it. It's been a long time since they'd seen Christopher Reeve, nearly 20 years and stuff.
It is nice. Yeah,
especially coming off of Superman Returns. It's like 5
months after Superman Returns. It's like a nice return. Yeah.
It is. But
Superman returns.
Yeah, there you go. But miles better than Superman Returns. I'd watch this 100 times out of 100 before Superman Returns.
This is very true. Yeah.
Where would you say it falls on your ranking?
Yes. Do have to add it up in there. Let's see. Comic book ranking. Definitely above The Last Stand. Batman 89. Daredevil, Batman Returns. So yeah, I have Superman 2 at 10 right now. The original. It's above that one. Maybe that one would actually go down a little bit now that I'm thinking about it. I think I might put the original kind of right below Batman 89. Well, yeah, I think it might just swap places. I think I'll put the original down a couple slots, and then the Donner cut kind of takes its place.
I see.
At 10.
Donner cut also landed at 10 for me. Right above the original cut of Superman 2 and right below X-Men 2000. I would
yeah, at 10 for me it puts it below X-Men and Batman Forever. But then above Batman Returns. So yeah, I think I dig that. That seems about right.
Hey, top third. We're 30 down, man. 30 movies deep in this project.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. No, I love that. But with that, I think we'll conclude this episode of the Penny Bloom Podcast. If you would, head to patreon.com/pennybloom-pod, where you'll find over 50 hours of exclusive content, including all sorts of book reviews, comic book reviews, movie reviews, and the like. For $3 a month, you can support this podcast financially, which is huge because it costs me money. and I don't make any off of it unless it's over there. Head to Twitter, follow at PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram at PennyBloomPodcast. Remember to leave a 5-star rate and review wherever it is you might be listening, and continue downloading as we continue with the comic book movie project, the comic book movie journey through film. Next Friday, it continues with, I think we're back to Marvel for the first time in a couple weeks, I think 3 weeks, with Ghost Rider.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Man, that'll be a good one.
I'm ready.
Fun one to revisit.
Yeah, first watch for me, so I'm ready for that.
I haven't watched it in got to be at least a decade, so I'm very excited to revisit it. And that'll be up there next Friday. Next Monday, we continue our Game of Thrones rewatch. Winter is Blooming, where it'll be season 5, episode 4. And I'm very, very excited for that. And then we continue our top 100 favorite movies ever next Wednesday with part 7, the 30s, 30 through 39. That project's heating up. We're getting to the best. I mean, like my favorite movies of all time. You know, like it's just there's so many of them. But now we're in the thick of it now. It's the good shit. It's the good shit. Remember to stand in solidarity with SAG-AFTRA and the WGA, and it seems the VFX workers at Disney are unionizing and potentially going on strike here soon.
That would be a big hit. Yeah,
that will be a massive hit. And I am looking forward to it. You know, without them, none of what we talk about would be possible. None of what we enjoy would be possible. You know, I get so much of my enjoyment, my happiness from movies. And if they weren't there, they wouldn't exist. And therein, I would not be happy. I need movies. I need movies. I love movies. And they're the reason they're as awesome as they are. And they're you know, if they're bad, fuck it. They deserve to be paid for it. You know, that's how these things work. If you do labor, you get paid for labor. That's just proper. But yeah, with that, I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And I'll end this how the movie should have ended. Peace, love, and bloom. And there he goes, kid. Up, up, and away.